It's been a few years since a season opener at Daytona carried this kind of hype. Part of the anticipation comes from the unknown. A new car set to make its debut and change the game in NASCAR.
There's cars running into each other left and right last week, and tires were still up. That just opens the door a lot for a different type of racing.
And young stars ready to cement their status as the best on track.
I don't want to get stuck on what we were able to accomplish last year.
It all starts at the World Center of Racing.
To get our first win together in Daytona, it'd feel even better if we can do it on Sunday.
Let's drop the green flag on the road to victory lane.
This is Action Sports Jack's Road to Victory Lane, brought to you by Travel Camp RV.
Here we go in 2022. A new car, a new excitement, some new names as well. But we're back at the same old historic racetrack, a terrific crowd as well. It's Daytona 500 Day at Daytona International Speedway. Happy race day, everyone. From the Speedway, I'm Brent Martineau. We'll be with you for the next hour and then hand off to the national guys. Fox coverage all day long right here on Fox 30 of the Daytona 500, the great American race, of course. Let's introduce you to our team on a beautiful day here by the beach in Daytona. We have everyone covered. A big enough team to field a car in the Daytona 500. Driver, pit crew, everyone. From the main storylines to the start of Speed Weeks to a racing club in Jacksonville and your forecast as well. Dan Stewart, Marcel Olivia, and company ready to go. And here's some music to the ears of race promoters and NASCAR executives. The grandstands in the infield will be full today for the 64th running of the Daytona 500. It's a sellout crowd on hand to kick off the NASCAR Cup Series season. Remember, less than 2 years ago, the sport had to pause along with the rest of the world for the COVID-19 pandemic. Good signs for the future that we will have a packed house today. It feels back to normal for sure. Well, let's set the pace here on our Road to Victory Lane special with the beginning of a new season. Every sport loves that. Some brand new, some excitement returns. And that is certainly the case in NASCAR, when they're always tweaking, changing, and evolving. And they do it in a big-time way as we enter 2022. New is always exciting, and NASCAR tried something new to start 2022.
Never thought we'd ever have an opportunity to bring this sport here.
Racing in a football stadium in Los Angeles was a heck of a start to the season.
I think that there is a lot of excitement around NASCAR right now. It's been really great being able to go out to the Coliseum in California and be in LA and have the market there really receptive to NASCAR, and I think NASCAR won that one for sure.
Now we get to Daytona, always the Super Bowl of racing, the great American race. The season doesn't need to find momentum. It already has it.
I was very excited about this new car and what it means to the racing and the fans, and it's going to be really important for me and all of us drivers to really share that with the fans. But the first race with this new car is already sold out, so the fans are already excited about the new car as well. So we're off to a good start there.
It's a sport that still has the names you know, but is in a transition of getting to know the stars of tomorrow. One thing always stays the same. The track is the star here at Daytona International Speedway.
We pride ourselves on, delivering a best-in-class experience, and we're always looking at what other sports and live event properties do, and we try to set the bar very high. So I think it's going to be an unpredictable race on Sunday, and we know that that's what our fans are showing up for.
A shiny new car leads us into a shiny new season at the race that stands the test of time, the Daytona 500. Another big part of the excitement surrounding the Cup Series this season is another edition of a next-gen car. Much more to come on what's different. Spoiler alert, it is absolutely everything. This is more than a tweak to the car. That's coming up later on in the show. It's a new car, but it's the same old race team dominating when it comes to the front row of qualifying. Once again, it'll be Hendrick Motorsports leading the field to green in a few hours on Wednesday night. Defending series champ Kyle Larson put his number 5 car on the pole with teammate Alex Bowman starting in the top 2 for a 5th straight year. At least when it comes to single car runs, Hendrick has speed again in 2022.
Anytime, I think you're really proud of your team to get a pole here, because this is the littlest that it has to do with us drivers is qualifying at super speedways. So just a huge thank you to the engine shop at Hendrick Motorsports. Hopefully this is the beginning of a really good weekend.
And here's how they'll line up for the Daytona 500 on the wall that says it all. Larson and Bowman on the front row. Keselowski and Buescher right behind them. They already found victory lane this week. A couple of rookies in row 3 and 4 with Cindric and Burton. Middle of the pack names like Busch, Logano, Harvick, Denny Hamlin in row 15. And toward the end of the starting grid, Kaz Grala. That's a name you will hear a lot today and maybe all season. He'll drive the 50 car for Floyd Mayweather and the Money Team. That starting lineup determined throughout the week, of course, with some of the duels, and we've already had some fireworks, even though it's been a shorter speed weeks. Let's go back to the Action Sports Shack studios now, bring in Dan Hicken with more on the racing that's already happened here at Daytona. Hey, Dan.
Brent, always a great time of the year when we get to feel the thunder at Daytona, right? The intriguing storylines on Thursday, who would win the duels and who would earn the final spots in the field. Different look to the duels this year with not as much pack racing this time around. In the first duel, the Fords really broke away from the pack after pit stops. And how about Brad Keselowski? New team, new number, new result in the duels. He wins a qualifying race for the first time in his career. Kaz Grala races his way into the 500 as well. You said more on his Money Team coming up in a bit. In duel number 2, well, they held the pack together a little longer. But once again, the Fords pulled away late, and it looked like Joey Logano would be the man to beat. Kind of did that to himself, though, didn't he? Tried to block Chris Buescher and gets turned as a result. Buescher the winner, and Greg Biffle, a name for the past, races his way to the final open spot in the field. A night later, the Truck Series took to the track, and we fast forward to the big one. You knew it was going to happen. They throw the caution just moments before they take the white flag and make the race official. So instead, they go to a green-white checkered, and big shock, more carnage. Both times, Zane Smith, not the former Pirates pitcher, Zane Smith leading at the right time. He wins the Next Era Energy 250. Finally, you can't miss the beef. It's what for dinner 300 on Saturday night. 30 to go. We got trouble in the back of the field. Never good when the sliding car turns back into the crowd. C.J. McLaughlin taking out a chunk of the pack. More fireworks on the final lap of the race. A.J. Allmendinger and Austin Hill fighting for the lead when Matt Snyder goes airborne. Oh, Snyder! Catch fence does its job, but it tears that car up in the process. Hill ruled the leader when the yellow flag came out. He's your winner after claiming the trucks race at Daytona a few years ago. We say it every year, but Daytona could often be as a wild card when it comes to who gets the checker flag after 500 miles. Trevor Bain, remember him? Likely go down as the biggest surprise to ever win this race back in 2011. But he may have some company for that distinction. Just 1 year ago, Team Penske poised to win the Great American Race with its drivers sitting 1-2, but Logano and Keselowski ain't gonna make it to the checkered flag. A big wreck on the backstretch, opening the door for Michael Mcdowell. In his 359th career start, Mcdowell finds victory lane for the first time in his Cup Series career. A memory that won't go away and has not faded 12 months later.
We've been near the top of the sheets most of the weekend, and we're really fast in the duels. Yeah, it's kind of slowly been that build up. Nerves are kind of down and relaxed, and then you wake up and you start to feel the pressure of what it's going to look like for, try to defend the Daytona 500.
There is one tradition that will be broken this year. Normally, winners have to give up their car for a whole year for it to be displayed at the museum outside Turn 4. Because of a shortage of new race equipment this year, the winner's car will be digitally scanned, confetti, battle scars, and all, and a wrap created for an older test vehicle. That way, fans can still see the winning car without the team giving up their precious equipment. Speaking of Daytona 500 winners, you'll have to search to find any in this field of 40 drivers taking the track this afternoon. There are only 6 racers entering this year that have claimed the Harley J. Earl Trophy before. And Denny Hamlin is the only one with multiple wins in the 500, taking it 3 of the last 6 years. Kevin Harvick won it in 2007, Joey Logano in 2015, and more recent winners include Kurt Busch, Austin Dillon, and now Mcdowell. It takes a certain skill set and sometimes a little bit of luck to get to victory lane at Daytona.
Ultimately, you've got to be in that top 4 cars when the white flag is dropping. And each position's different, but you have to take all the steps on what to do when. and applying it all. And then you got to have a little lady luck too. She's got to be with you if you want to win this one.
This is just an epic race, and it's very hard to win, and it shows what this race is and how hard it is to win, because 6 guys out of a field of the best in the world, in my opinion. That's pretty cool to be a part of that.
Ah, what a weather week down in Daytona. Close to record highs, nice breeze by the beach, very little threat of making this a Monday race because of rain. You know, we've done that before, right? Let's get your race day forecast. And even if you're watching from your couch, First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Bursch can tell you how this weather could impact the race.
Well, great race day today in Daytona. Temperatures a little bit either way of 70 degrees, partly sunny skies. There is going to be an easterly breeze. That'll mean a little bit cooler by late afternoon, certainly early this evening. A jacket would probably be a pretty good idea. 50 and 71, the average low and high temperature respectively will be pretty close to that today. We have had races as cold as the 40s back in 1967, a number of races where temperatures were only in the 50s. 3 have finished on a Monday, 2012, 2020. And then just last year, a little bit after midnight, after about a 6-hour rain delay. 4 races have been shortened, the shortest ever in 2003, just 109 laps. And in 2014, there was a tornado warning, and storms delayed the race by more than 6 hours. Have a great day and enjoy the race.
Man, what a weather history. Pit stop number 1 for us. Usually Daytona starts everything for NASCAR. Not this year. Racing in a football stadium got the season started. Well, that story next.
Hey, I'm NASCAR driver Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch wins the Daytona 500.
Wow. And you're watching Action Sports Jacks.
This is Action Sports Jack's Road to Victory Lane, brought to you by Travel Camp RV.
For the first time in a while, the calendar year did not begin here at Daytona with the Busch Light Clash. NASCAR choosing to take that show on the road and build a short track inside the LA Coliseum. Yeah, the Coliseum. The final result, a race scene unlike any other, and a chance to open some eyes to the sport of stock car racing. Welcome back, everybody, to our Road to Victory Lane special. I'm Brent Martineau here at Daytona International Speedway, and that's been the idea by NASCAR. Open the sport up to other folks in different parts of the country, make it all-inclusive for everyone, and it seemed to work out west.
Joey Logano leads Kyle Busch by 2-3 car lengths to the checkered flag.
Well, one driver who had to like the idea, Joey Logano, because at the end of the day, earned the historic win inside the Coliseum. Remember, just an exhibition race, so no points on the line, but some prize money and an extra trophy for the case. That never hurts. Let's bring in Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber. He's here with me at Daytona International Speedway, but a couple weeks back, he was on the West Coast at the Coliseum and has more on the race that started the season.
It's a one-off exhibition. How much of a difference can it make? Well, according to the drivers, the Clash in LA made quite the big difference. A lot of new eyeballs in the sport and a chance for NASCAR to try something different and unique.
The crowd was amazing. The atmosphere was amazing. The racetrack ended up being really good. So and I thought the racing was well too. The drivers were really good sports about it, and I thought we saw a great show out there.
We had such a successful week at the LA Coliseum. All the enthusiasm and excitement that came with that particular event. I'm excited for our sport and everybody involved in it, and excited to be a part of it.
And while only Joey Logano technically won at the end of the night, there were small victories across the board.
Oh, we learned a ton at the Clash. We learned a lot about our cars and how to set them up. We learned a lot about our cars on where the durability is, and we're going to apply those and be better for it.
And everyone was beating and banging and moving people out of the way. That was really good for, I guess, that next generation fan, right? And hopefully they're able to enjoy the process and come back to another race.
Another race like, say, Fontana, which is a short 1-hour drive, not including traffic, from LA. That is where the NASCAR Cup Series is headed next week. As for the Clash in 2023, still undetermined where that race is going to take place. Could be back at the LA Coliseum, could be somewhere else. Wherever it is, you better believe NASCAR is going to try and make it a showcase event once again to kick off the 2023 season. For now, at Daytona International Speedway, Stuart Weber, Action Sports Jacks. Let's go back to you.
We wanted to illustrate for you just how different things will be this weekend from a size comparison when you talk about NASCAR's second biggest speedway at Daytona. So big, in fact, you could fit 10. Look at them all. L.A. Coliseum's inside the 2.5-mile tri-oval here at Daytona. By the way, that wasn't just the track. That was stands and all. So the NASCAR schedule takes a turn in 2022, and that is not new for NASCAR. They continue to tweak. Really, the last couple of years, the schedule has changed in a lot of different directions, including the summer race here at Daytona being pushed back to August instead of July 4th weekend. Let's bring in Action Sports Jack's Olivia Tassley right now. She has more on the highlights of the 2022 NASCAR schedule.
Racing fans, get ready to mark your calendars from some notable changes and races for the 2022 season. The Circuit of America's race in Austin, Texas is moving to March 27th. The race was previously held in late May, aka just a few days before hurricane season in Texas. So let's hope things will be a little bit drier for the drivers. Next up, drivers will spend Easter Sunday in Tennessee. The Bristol Dirt Race Take 2 is in April, hoping for better results this time around after rain swamped out the track for qualifying, and dust, as you can see, proved to be an issue on race day. Next up, NASCAR has added a race in Illinois. Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway, will host on June 5th. This will be the first time with Cup Series drivers after the 1.25 mile track has hosted Xfinity trucks and Indy Series over the years. And we're all focused on Daytona 500 this week, but once again, Daytona will return for the regular season finale later this year. We head back to the World Center of Racing on August 27th for the Coke Zero Sugar 400. And finally, it's off to the desert to wrap up the season in Phoenix on November 6th, where the next champion will be crowned. In the studio, I'm Olivia Tassley. Let's go back to you.
The UNF Ospreys have a lot of sports on campus. Racing is not a college sport, but some of the Ospreys have motor oil running through their veins. That story is coming up on our Road to Victory Lane special as we get you set for the Daytona 500. Let's look at the garage scene. A lot of folks hanging around here at the Speedway. Fantastic sold-out crowd, and they are ready to roll for a 3 o'clock start in the Daytona 500.
Hey, I'm Kevin Harvick, and you're watching Action Sports Jacks.
This is Action Sports Jack's Road to Victory Lane, brought to you by Travel Camp RV.
Oh, man, it's going to be great to see the fans in full force today for the Daytona 500. Anxious to see the new next-gen car in action and to see if their favorite driver can make it to Victory Lane later on this evening. All right, the Daytona 500 is the biggest day for NASCAR fans, but the fans aren't the only ones with their eyes on the track. Those in attendance include the next generation of aspiring drivers, but the inspiration reaches farther than the pits. Let's bring in Marcel Robinson. He has more on some UNF Ospreys with their eyes on engineering.
Ospreys, start your engines. Founded back in 2010, the UNF Osprey Racing Chapter of the Society of Automotive Engineers are learning about the ever-changing world of engineering in the best way possible by getting a little dirt and grime on their hands after class.
The opportunities that you get here in a program like this are like nothing else. It prepares you for the kinds of projects you have both in internships and in the professional world in a way that normal in-class, even labs, don't.
You can bring your classroom methods directly to the shop and see directly where they apply. Students get a working knowledge of their curriculum. They're ready to hit the ground running rather than have to learn from square one.
In the spirit of the biggest weekend in NASCAR, the proximity of the Super Bowl of racing yields another set of advantages for the future engineers.
Being so close to Daytona means it's kind of a home race for us.
So it's just inspirational to see how the professionals do it and then try to bring that professionalism here into the shop.
And that knowledge is put to good use. The Osprey Racing Club turns metal into a masterpiece, a competitive, drivable Formula SAE race car.
We design and build this car from the ground up. We sit down, put pen to paper, put mouse to keyboard, and it was a lot of learning, a lot of trial and error, a lot of self-teaching, a lot of Googling, but I think we did something that we're very proud of.
As if building a car from the first pipe to the last bolt wasn't a great enough feat, they take that car and compete against over 100 teams from around the world.
When we go to competition, it's incredibly special because we get to see what we've put all the work in, go out and compete against other schools, and then some of us on the team drive it.
But one thing is for certain, the experience gained at this pit stop remains invaluable.
The people who leave having done this program, I think, are better prepared for whatever career they want to go into than they would be otherwise.
With just over 10 years from inception, the Ospreys Racing Club continues to grow every single year. They placed second amongst Florida schools last year in competition, but they've got their sights still in the top spot in 2022. In the studio, Marcel Robinson, let's go back to you.
Man, how cool is that? Jacksonville's no stranger to racing. This weekend, the Brumos collection opening its doors for a social event. Man, some real history in the racing world right here in Northeast Florida. We've seen some new high-profile team owners in NASCAR the last few years, right? We had, Pitbull, Michael Jordan, and now Floyd Mayweather. The money team qualified for the 500 in the number 50 car. Mayweather a perfect 50 and 0 in his career and looking to score a knockout as they run a partial schedule in 2022.
We've seen some really huge names jump into the sport as owners over the past year and a half, and Floyd's the latest one. So I'm really excited to be the guy driving for him. I think that the team has a lot of marketability, a lot of reach because of Floyd.
Floyd will drop some serious cash on that team, too, gambling. One more famous name to throw in the mix, former Gators and Cowboys great Emmett Smith, helping fund an Xfinity team this year. Emmett trackside earlier this week, along with his driver Jesse Iwuji in the number 34 car. A next generation of car owners and a whole new generation when it comes to the cars. We'll see this afternoon. What's different? We're going to let the drivers explain. That's coming up next.
This is Action Sports Jack's Road to Victory Lane, brought to you by Travel Camp RV.
The Daytona 500 still a few hours away, but this isn't just about a few hours now. This is a week full of fun at Daytona International Speedway. What a week it's been to kick off the 2022 season as everybody's getting a look inside the garage at that new car that we're going to talk about right now. Welcome back, everybody. Daytona International Speedway. I'm Brent Martineau, along with the entire Action Sports Jacks team. Road to Victory Lane takes you until 1 o'clock, and then we'll hand off to the national guys. Start time, green flag goes about 3 o'clock here this afternoon, and we are looking at a beautiful weather day. And we're looking at a pretty good-looking new car in NASCAR, next-gen car, the 7th generation of a car in NASCAR. And this was not just a tweak, folks. This one is a lot different. NASCAR's evolution might just take them back to the old days in 2022.
My favorite thing, hands down, no doubt, how much contact there was with no tires cut down. That was the biggest win. We weren't able to rub like that at Martinsville and not cut tires down.
The next-gen car, in simple terms, will put everyone on a more even starting grid.
It's a 1,200-piece Lego set, and you have your instruction manual that tells you exactly the tolerances you have to operate within, and so it gives us a chance, even more so this year than ever. If you're on that starting grid on Sunday, you can win the Daytona 500.
Kids love Legos, and maybe the kids of NASCAR will thrive in this next-gen car.
All the young guys have not an advantage, but they're at way less of a disadvantage than they've been in the past, just because the veteran guys have ran these cars, or the old style car, for so long, and just having, I guess, not as many habits to break gives a little bit more of an equal playing field.
This car looks more like a consumer car. It's a return to the roots of NASCAR kind of car, like the good old days. Does feel like a throwback year for the sport of NASCAR, and how well will drivers and teams adjust to this next-gen car will go a long way in deciding who's the points champ at the end of the year in the 2022 season. Let's bring in Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber once again from Daytona International Speedway, the last driver to win at Daytona. Last July, Stuart Weber caught up with him, hoping the new car brings the same old results.
2021 was a breakout season for Ryan Blaney and the number 12 car. 3 victories, including back-to-back wins to end the regular season. But with an eye towards this upcoming year, Blaney and his team have new goals to contend for a championship.
You just try to take the things that you learn and that experience and apply it to next year. Even though it's a different car and a completely different car, and I have a new crew chief this year with Jonathan Hassler, and I'm looking forward to working with him a lot. He's very sharp. He's been with Penske for a very long time. It's been really neat to get a lot of laps with this new car, and because we're not going to get a lot of laps on race weekend. It's pretty limited practice, so you try to get as much as you can. But it's been fun developing that car with NASCAR and learning all about it. And
your thoughts from the tests that you've had, as far as maybe what are you interested to see once you finally get out on the track and have some real racing?
They're hard to drive, and that's, I think, going to showcase a lot of drivers' talents. If it's really easy to make a mistake, and we're already running on that fine line. And so that's just going to, be more important to not mess up and be perfect. So I'm looking forward to that. Everyone's kind of nervous right now on making sure we have enough, things to go to the racetrack if you wreck a car or things like that. So that's the nervous thing about it. But I think that'll just get better and better as, that supply chain kind of gets running a little bit more smoothly. But, you have to keep that in mind, and, you hope it doesn't run into an issue.
Daytona's not exactly known for bringing cars back in one piece after you go race there. Speaking of Daytona, you get the win there last year in the summer race. What would it mean to be a Daytona 500 champion?
Really great to win at Daytona, in the night race. And it's really special to win there, in anything. But obviously the 500 has so much more prestige to it. And it's very, very special. So we've run second there a couple times in the 500. It would mean a ton. That win last year meant a ton there. And it'd be great to be able to do it again.
Blaney was fast in his duel on Thursday night. He led 22 laps. Of course, his former teammate Brad Keselowski eventually made the pass for the win. Speaking of Keselowski, he leaves Team Penske, so Blaney now steps up into more of a leadership role. You got Joey Logano there, but you also have a rookie in Austin Cindric, so we'll see how that dynamic at Team Penske plays out over the course of this season. At Daytona International Speedway, Stuart Weber, Action Sports Jacks.
Stuart is Mr. NASCAR in our Action Sports Jacks team, so follow Stuart all year long for more NASCAR content, including a one-on-one conversation with up-and-comer Noah Gragson. You can check out that interview on the Action Sports Jacks YouTube page. Subscribe to it. Go check it out. One idea of the next-gen car, it'll even the playing field. What does that mean for the power teams like Hendrick Motorsports? Chasing down Hendrick. That story is coming up. Once again, a beautiful day here at Daytona International Speedway. Sold out everywhere. RVs were sold out. Crowds sold out. And you could tell getting in here wasn't easy in 2022. Welcome back to Daytona.
Hey everyone, Ryan Blaney.
The winner at Pocono, Ryan Blaney.
And you're watching Action Sports Jacks.
This is Action Sports Jacks Road to Victory Lane. Brought to you by Travel Camp RV.
What a special moment for all parents.
How does that feel for a 6-year-old?
Well, how does it feel for Dad? Yeah.
Yeah, from watching the end of the season at home to bringing home the trophy in 2021, the last 2 years ended very different ways for Kyle Larson. Now with Hendrick Motorsports, Larson winning 10 races a year ago to claim the championship. That win at Phoenix to wrap up the title secured a second straight championship for Team Hendrick. They win and they win often with a stable of young drivers. Good luck to the rest of the sport in trying to catch up.
There's domination, and then there's Hendrick Motorsports on the NASCAR scene. Try these numbers on for size. 17 team wins, or 47.2% of the NASCAR season. A 1-4 finish at Dover. That's only the third time that's happened in NASCAR history. And top driver Kyle Larson led almost 2,600 laps this past season. The most since Hendrick alum Jeff Gordon led 2,000 plus back in 1995.
I feel like everything was just really clicking last year. I feel like each department was just kind of on their game. Our engine's running good. The aero department was really clicking. That's hard to replicate, but I feel like we have a great group.
Kyle Larson a year ago watched the race from North Carolina. Today, he's a Cup Series champion.
They win, and they win often. So the challenge for the other teams, to chase them down.
It's all going to be a toss-up now, and with this next-gen car, nobody knows who's going to have the advantage. So it very well could be Joe Gibbs Racing, and we're expecting it to be Joe Gibbs Racing.
You know, honestly, we didn't talk much about their success over the offseason because there's just so many other things that's new and we have to adapt to and change to.
Every race is a new race and a new opportunity for a new winner. And so every year is a new year for opportunity for a new champion. So we'll give it our all, and hopefully we're there in the Final Four.
The good news for everyone else, Hendrick hasn't been in victory lane at Daytona since Dale Jr. in 2014.
The boys don't want to give Hendrick too much credit. When it comes to winning championships, Hendrick Motorsports is the best in the business, with 14 titles, all coming in the last 27 years. Petty Enterprises has 11 as a team, followed by RCR's 6 with Dale Earnhardt and Junior Johnson, 6 titles. Joe Gibbs racing close behind with 5 championships. Hendrick Motorsports is without a doubt one of the favorites to win this afternoon. Let's bring in Marcel Robinson to break down the odds of visiting victory lane in the Daytona 500.
It's the Daytona 500, the great American race, and it's also anyone's race. No matter what the name, what your car number is, you've got a chance to win down here in Daytona. We've seen some of the craziest things happen, and hey, this year could be just the same. Let's start talking about some of the guys who are, we'll say, the favorites. This guy right here, Denny Hamlin, he knows how to win in Daytona. Winner in 2019 and 20. He's due for another one, and this guy is one you can always count on to be at the top of the pack. Kyle Larson, if you know racing, you know this guy last year. Winner of the points championship, and he led so many laps, as we previously talked about in the show, that he's one that you definitely have to watch out for. That 5 car is going to be moving in Daytona. His Hendrick Motorsports teammate, Chase Elliott. Look, I know he's never won at Daytona, hear me out, but he can drive, and I think he's due for a big win, and no win would be bigger than right here at the Daytona 500. Brad Keselowski, now with RFK Motorsports. Look, this is his first time racing in the Daytona 500 as a part owner and driver. That worked out pretty well last week in the duels when he won the first one in Daytona. He said he'd love to do it at the 500. He might do just that. Of course, Kyle Busch. Everyone knows Kyle Busch, and most people hate him. He's always in contention at the Daytona 500, and it seems that he's always just found some bad luck getting wrecked and just never being able to capture that elusive checkered flag. Might be the year for him. And of course, this last guy, Aric Almirola. As you know, his last season before he retires as a NASCAR driver. What a way to go out being the winner of the Daytona 500. We'll have to see what happens because as we talked about, magic happens at the Daytona International Speedway. It's anybody's race in the Daytona 500. In the studio, Marcel Robinson, Action Sports Jax.
When he was racing in NASCAR, you can bet Jimmy Johnson's name would be up near the top of odds of favorites to win here at Daytona. This year marks the second Daytona 500 without the 7-time champ in the field, but he's still keeping an eye on the sport he dominated for more than a decade. Johnson weighs in on where the Cup Series is heading.
You know, it's always an adventurous journey to debut a new car, and especially this one with so many changes, suppliers that are changing, spec parts and pieces. But I do know, the garage area is very sharp. Fans are going to love what they see. So I'm going to be watching as close as anyone to see how the teams handle the new challenge.
Now you get Jeff Gordon going back to be a little more hands-on with everything going on over at Hendrick. You got to like the way things are going for your old team.
There are more variables than ever with the new car coming out. And I truly have no idea who will be on top. But I know the resources that exist at Hendrick, Rick's desire to win and be on top. And I would suspect that Hendrick's going to get off to a quick start.
Yeah, I would think so, too. Don't worry about a comeback. Johnson is fully invested in his IndyCar career. Year 2 is on the horizon starting next week in St. Pete. One big difference, Jimmy running the full schedule this year, including the Indianapolis 500 in May. May will be a big month for racing. You know that. Formula One is set to make its Miami debut on May 8th. Not on the beach. The road course will wind its way around Hard Rock Stadium and feature some of the best racers in the world. This is in addition to the fall race in Austin at the same circuit of the Americas. Track NASCAR will visit next month. Jacques Villeneuve knows all about Formula One. In '97, the Canadian won the World Championship over Michael Schumacher. He also won the '95 Indy 500. And now he can say he'll race in the Daytona 500. The 50-year-old qualified for the race earlier this week.
To be able to make such a big race at such a high level is amazing. And when I'm in the race car, I just don't realize that I'm 50, which is good. As long as it carries on like this, I can't imagine myself stopping racing.
One to watch. Always drivers coming and going in NASCAR. When we come back, one final Daytona 500 for a racer from the Sunshine State. That's coming up next.
I'm NASCAR champion Jimmy Johnson. You're watching Action Sports Jacks.
This is Action Sports Jacks Road to Victory Lane, brought to you by Travel Camp RV.
1, 2, 3! Happy place to be. That was the summer of 2014. Eric Almarola winning the race at Daytona, one of his biggest moments in the sport. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. I'm Brent Martineau, our Road to Victory Lane special. We will go until 1 o'clock, hand off to the national guys, 3 o'clock, green flag, all the post-race coverage on Fox, and then Action Sports Jacks primetime later tonight, by the way. Eric Almarola winning the Daytona 500 would be a heck of a story. 37 years old, a really nice career in the sport of NASCAR, and like so many other drivers recently, he's going to call it quits after this 2022 season. Eric Almarola winning the Daytona 500 in the 10 car. That would be a heck of a story. NASCAR has lost many stars the last few years.
The all-time winner at Dover, it's over. 10 wins.
From Jimmy Johnson to Tony Stewart and backflipping Carl Edwards.
We're waiting for the backflip. Edwards does it. The crowd goes crazy.
And oh yeah, Dale Jr. too.
Using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st.
After this season, NASCAR will lose another driver to retirement. He might not be a star, but he's respected in the garage and on the track. Eric Almarola.
For me, I came to grips with it over the offseason and felt right about it, and it felt right to get ahead of it before the season started, so it's not a distraction.
Almarola has 3 wins in his career. His first came in 2014 here at Daytona in the summer race.
Almarola gets the win.
One more chance for Almarola to get the Daytona double.
It's sort of business as usual, to be honest, but little things, right? Like driving through the tunnel yesterday morning and just really reminding myself, slow down, look around, take it all in.
Eric Almarola, he might be a sentimental favorite in the number 10 car here at Daytona today. Almarola is from Fort Walton Beach. He's a UCF grad, and he's not the only driver with Florida ties. B.J. McLeod is from the small town of Wauchula. It's the cucumber capital of the world, by the way. At least that's what they claim. That's right down the road from Ross Chastain's hometown of Alva in the Cape Coral, Fort Myers area, where his family owns a watermelon farm.
4th of July was always our family vacation with other friends and motorhomes. We camped outside Turn 1, so yeah, I have the most people from back home here. I try to get the most tickets, and it's special though to walk out on the grid and see familiar faces across the track in the grandstands and down on the grid.
So we give you a little cucumber, watermelon, and geography lesson here on our Road to Victory Lane special, and now we have new old faces and new places coming up on the show. We bring in Action Sports Jacks' Olivia Tassley with a story on that.
Just like any off-season, athletes are going to head to the next best opportunity for them in their career. And luckily for us, Stuart Weber assigned me to keep track of all the top changes. So let's get to them. Biggest change goes to Brad Keselowski. He has moved on from Team Penske, trading in the number 2 car to now get behind the wheel of the number 6 car. Why would you do that, you ask? Well, the 37-year-old is now a full-time driver and co-owner for RFK Racing. And another NASCAR champion that changed organization is Kurt Busch. He says goodbye to his number 1 car after Trackhouse Racing bought out his old team. He will now be pulling up in the number 45 car, joining 2311 Racing. Next up, Justin Haley. He becomes a full-time driver for Calling Racing. The 2019 Daytona Summer Race champ will be behind the 31 car. And finally, Ty Dillon. He gets back in the game, becoming a full-time driver for Petty GMS Racing. He'll be driving the number 42 car. And those are some of the faces in new places. Let's go back to you.
Hey, you better have a program ready when you watch NASCAR. Here's a look at the rookie class, by the way, in 22. Austin Cindric to the number 2. 23-year-old from Columbus, Ohio, dominated the Xfinity Series the last couple years, winning the title in 2020. Harrison Burton, the son of Jeff, to the number 21 car, had 4 wins on the Xfinity Series over the last 3 years, just turned 21 in October. Todd Gilliland to the number 38. He's the son of former Cup driver David Gilliland. He spent his most recent time in the Truck Series, but also raced in the ARCA Series for a few years. Check this out. He started on that series at the age of 15. Rookies ready to make some noise in 2022.
It's definitely a perspective changer, that's for sure. I'd like to think that's not a target on the back of my car, but maybe if you watched last week, I don't know. So forget about the rookie stripes or anything else. You know, even if I wasn't a rookie, you look at someone like Justin Haley. I mean, having to learn your competitors is huge when there's 20, 30 guys that can probably contend for a win on every weekend.
It's becoming a bit of a tradition that the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds take NASCAR rookies for a ride before the Daytona 500. On Thursday, Cindric and Burton got to experience some higher speeds from up above the racetrack. That's a lot of fun. The Thunderbirds will once again perform the flyover after the national anthem this afternoon, right around 2:30, 2:45 or so. Last year's Rookie of the Year was Chase Briscoe. Drives the 14 for Stewart Haas Racing. Finished 23rd in points last year. Made his Cup Series debut here at Daytona in 2021. Briscoe didn't win in his rookie season. He did have 3 top 10s. Briscoe finishing 19th, 32nd, and 21st in 3 Daytona races a season ago. Hey, it's the Daytona 500. That means it's a wide open race in the Great American Race. We try to pick the winner anyway. Will it be a favorite in the new car or someone like Mike Mcdowell from last year? Picks coming up next on this Road to Victory Lane special here on Fox 30 as you get a look at Daytona Beach on a beautiful day here in February.
This is Action Sports Jack's Road to Victory Lane, brought to you by Travel Camp RV.
All right, we got some big folks here at Daytona International Speedway. Pro Football Hall of Famer Charles Woodson will get him going as the Grand Marshal. Gentlemen, start your engines. Trace Atkins pre-race concert actually happening right now. And on the right from WWE fame, that's Big E. Drive the pace car as well. And we wonder if we'll see Floyd Mayweather because he's got that money car and the number 50 car here in the Daytona 500 today. And Michael Jordan as well, right? He's here this weekend. He owns a race team with Denny Hamlin. Welcome back to our Road to Victory Lane special, everybody. I'm Brent Martineau. It is time to pick a winner. One of the toughest things to do in the prediction business is to pick the Daytona 500 winner. Let's see if we can find one here. We begin with Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber.
If we learned anything in the duels on Thursday, it's that the Fords are sneaky fast. They go under the radar for a little bit, but at the end, they emerge as the fast pack that went on to win both of those duels. That's why I'm taking a Ford. Give me Ryan Blaney. He's the last guy to visit Victory Lane in a points-counting race. That, of course, the summer race 1 year ago. I think he makes it 2 wins in a row at Daytona.
When it comes to the Daytona 500, it is literally anyone's race. We talk about it all the time, but I'm going to go with one of the favorites to finally capture that elusive checkered flag. Give me Kyle Busch to finally get a win at the Daytona 500. Of course, we know his brother Kurt already has one of those titles, so the Thanksgiving conversations are not going to be as awkward this time around.
All right, I'm hoping for beginner's luck. I think this is the year for Joey Logano to claim his second Daytona 500 championship. I like happy people. This guy's always smiling, and I see him bringing that smile to Victory Lane.
Let the dynasty continue at Daytona 500. DH loves DH. Denny Hamlin will be your winner. It'll be his 4th in 7 times. I'm riding with Denny Hamlin, but I have to couch that a bit. I made that pick before the duels. He didn't look so good on Thursday night. That's okay. We'll fix the thing, Brent. Don't worry.
Hicken, you're so creative, man. You go with the guy who's the same initials as you. Very good. Maybe it'll happen. He's won here before, obviously. Hey, I'm going for the long shot. I think he was 33-1. Larry Bird kind of odds. How about Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? Hasn't won in like 4.5 years. He's got 2 Cup wins, both at the super speedways. One at Talladega, one here at Daytona in the summer race. So let's go for the long shot like last year. I'll take Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to win the Daytona 500 out of nowhere. We have complete coverage all day long. Obviously, you can watch the race on Fox 30. Later tonight, it's Action Sports Jack's primetime. We'll be in Victory Lane for all the post-race reaction and the rest of the day and week in sports as well. Action Sports Jack's primetime, 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47. Listen, we've had some hurdles over the last few years, right, between the pandemic and weather. It's going to be a beautiful Sunday here at Daytona International Speedway. Enjoy the 500, whether you're coming down to it or watching from your couch on Fox 30. Have a good Sunday, everybody. Beautiful day. 3 o'clock green flag for the Daytona 500 of 2022.
Thanks for watching Action Sports Jack's Road to Victory Lane. Brought to you by Travel Camp RV.